Welcome to Rock Island Line, the podcast where we explore the people, places, and possibilities shaping Rock Island, Illinois. I'm your host, Annika O'Melia, a lifelong Rock Islander and a true believer in the power of community storytelling. In today's episode, I'm joined by Isaac Carr, the Citizenship Director at the Quad City Alliance for Immigrants and Refugees. Isaac shares his own journey to Rock Island and the incredible work he does helping immigrants and refugees navigate the path to citizenship. We talk about the emotional impact of federal immigration policy, what it means to truly feel welcomed in a community, and how we can all support each other in building a future here, one that reflects each person's version of the American dream. If you're curious about how Rock Island is growing and evolving and the role immigrants and refugees play in that story, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. To learn more about the Rock Island Line podcast, check out our website at rockislandline.com or follow us on social media. And now, my interview with Isaac, who was kind enough to join me while battling a little cold. Let's get into it. I'm here today with Isaac Carr from QCAIR, which is the Quad City Alliance for Immigrants and Refugees. And thank you so much, Isaac, for being a guest on the Rock Island Line.
Thank you so much.
When did your journey with Rock Island begin?
First of all, I am the Citizenship Director at QCAIR. I moved to Rock Island in 2004 as a new refugee who transitioned here through war relief. And we started our journey there. I came in with 2 kids, and now I have 4 of them here. So we basically, the kids all went to school here. My last daughter is now a senior student at Rocky High School. She was one of the good or better soccer player on the girls' team, but when her older sister, who was the captain, left, she just decided to leave soccer, and she does track, and she's one of the best runner on the track. And so Rock Island is a home for us, and so we know a lot of the newcomers, and we know almost everything happening in the city.
So my understanding is then that you came here from Liberia in 2004 with 2 of your children, and then 2 more kids came later and joined you?
They were born here.
Oh, they were born here. So
Yeah.
you created them later.
Yes.
Okay. And what was it like to come to Rock Island when you arrived here? What did you think of the city? What did you think of this place as a place?
The first time we got here, the expectation of America was not Rock Island. When we see America, we see Chicago City, we see New York City, we see LA, and we compare with our cities and like, wow, I want to go there too and see how it look. So when we got to Rock Island, we like, is this really America? But later on, we got to understand the real America, that America is not the skyscrapers. It's not the luxury. America is that dream that you can also build of your own. And how other people was able to build the same dream. And that's how the America is. Don't go after what is already built. You need to rethink and say, what can I do better? What can I change? And how can we rebuild? And that's how we started to all join in the change to rebuild Rock Island City.
I love that. So you said when you saw America from a distance, it was the luxury, the skyscrapers, the big bustling cities. And when you got here, recognizing that America is a dream, it's possibility, and that it's really building something for yourself, the opportunity to create and to build a life for yourself. And that's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is true, because we visited almost all the cities. We would take the kids on vacation every summer to Chicago. We would go to Vegas with the kids. We would drive towards the mountains in the open type Jeeps, make them to see all that part of America. We would travel to New York area, show them other places. we would go to Dallas, show them other places, and we go different places in the country. And even when I have my own trucking, I still do have the trucking company and the events decorating. So when I'm doing on the road trips with the truck, I go to different part of the country and I see what it is. So basically, like some parts are less better than where we live, and we like, wow, we think we are better off where we live, and let's all make it better.
When you came to the United States in 2004, did you come basically fleeing a situation that wasn't safe?
Oh, yes.
I know your kids a little bit, so I know I've never met you, but I know a little bit of your children's story. And is that something you're comfortable talking about?
Oh, yeah. So Liberia was founded in the 1800s by the free slaves who left the United States by the American Colonization Society, moved back to those who moved back, who were free and went back to Africa, first got settled in Liberia. And so many years after all the settlement, there were conflict between the settlers and the indigenous, like the what we call Pilgrims or the settler here in the United States and the Native American. So the fight between land issue continued to rise, where only the so-called elite can be leaders in Liberia, not the native Liberian. And so that fight went on for years. From Liberia has its independence in 1847. The oldest, let's say Africa oldest independent country that was recognized by Great Britain. America refused to recognize that. And Ethiopia was self-recognized, self-independent, and grew bigger and taller from there. So Liberia will host anybody. You can flee Lebanon. We have bunch of so many Lebanese Liberian living in Liberia, Indians Liberian living in Liberia, people from everywhere in the world live in Liberia, because Liberia is a free land. The name Liberia means freedom. It means Labor Day. So any free man of color, no matter where you're from, you can go to Liberia, enter with your proper documentation, and during the years after that, you're free. Nobody bother you. Yeah. And so when an additional Liberian or native Liberian is fighting to become a president, vice president, that's not going to work. It has to be somebody who is a descendant of Isaac Carr, the name that sounds more American as compared to like my name right now, Isaac Carr. It is completely an American name. And the Liberian name will be some sort of Tokba or some sort of you are, like the names that are more native. And so on and on, people like, oh, we got to take over. And so one day there was a coup d'etat where a military group took over or was assisted by some Western nation. And from that time on, Liberia trouble started. And so
around what year was that?
It happened in 1980.
So in 1980, a military group assisted by Western governments and tried to reinforce the idea that
not even reinforce. If they don't like what you do, you have to go.
You have to go.
Yeah.
And so in that kind of breakdown of, are you a native of Liberia or are you from these elite?
I am a native.
So you are native. Yeah. So in that coup d'etat, it was the native Liberians that they decided are the ones that we don't want here anymore, or that we don't like, or...
No, what they did was after they took out the elite, or the so-called elite, then they had no choice but to choose a military and say, hey, you're the captain right now, or you the master sergeant on shift, and we cannot call for a general to take over. So you're going to take over. And we will tell you exactly how you're going to run the country. So when this guy eyes got open and saw the wrong in the process, he decided not to follow order, and he decided to also see what better, who he could work with in the world to make life better. And they said, well, if that's how you're going to treat us, you got to go. And that's how the whole process started. So it was like mastermind. They were telling him what to do, what to do, what to do. And when he found out that he couldn't, he thought that was the wrong thing to do. So he said, I'm not going to do that. So they said, well, then you got to go. So they created another group and the war started. It was 14 years. And that 14 years, got Liberian, people who used to love one another, people who cherish one another, all became enemies.
Wow.
That's
so
how war is.
Liberia was this place named after freedom. Kind of anyone from anywhere could come, and there was some amount of peace, but maybe some problems simmering under the surface. But then outside groups and different factions started to pop up, and there just became hatred between and among groups of people. And this group needs to go, and this group needs to be in charge, and devolved into a situation.
And so, just to make it much better, when a war is being fought, one group may become more powerful, and the group that has the most support, the arms, the money, and that's the group, somebody will push, because when that happens, they go for your resources. So if you have a lot of golds and diamond on the Rock Island Arsenal, they will make sure the people who live in that whole area are the group they support, so that they can get hold of your arsenal and take what they can take out. And then when the Rock River is producing much, or the Mississippi is going to be producing much, they make sure they target the entire area of the rivers that will give them what they want as compared to what they're giving you. And they will manipulate you as if they love you, and that's the best you can do. And before you look, 90% of your resources is going.
Wow. So you've seen in real time, how old were you during this 14-year period?
I was between 16, 17.
16, 17 years old, and you see the groups that are most powerful approaching areas with resources, geographic areas, strategic areas, and sort of plying those areas maybe with economic favor, or, oh, you're the people that we like, you're great, kind of buddying up, making a connection, and then stripping the resources away from that group.
Yeah, and they will kind of like keep prompting you to show you the way and show you what would be better for you. And that other group don't like you. When you are running, this will happen. You got to arm more people. You got to recruit more people to fight for you. And the recruitment is not cheap. They're going to force young women into fighting forces, recruit children into fighting forces. And when you're giving guns and power, you don't care anymore. You can disrespect whoever, because you feel, in fact, they become self-proclaimed major, self-proclaimed general, self-proclaimed commander, leaders for this group, leaders for that group. And everybody starts to create their own little factions and rebels, we call them, and they will start to go either against one another, or against government, or against another forces. And so, yeah.
And then violence becomes the only way to solve a problem, or the only...
Violence
is the only tool of communication.
Yep.
It's
and
just...
they will start to burn down structures that they struggle to build with their own hands, or that they struggle to work and reproduce.
And so in the mix of this, you're 16, you're a young man, you're growing up, having children. So you had 2 children while you were in Liberia?
Nope. I had to flee Liberia. We went to Sierra Leone. Then my parents were in the Ivory Coast, and then we joined them in the Ivory Coast. It's now called, in French, it's Côte d'Ivoire, or like Côte d'Ivoire. And so we joined them in the Côte d'Ivoire. We were off and on living there, and started to... And that when the table flipped, The young now become adults, and adults become nothing. So when you were a governor, a senator, whoever you were in Liberia, and you fled the war with nothing in your hand, because when you leave, you go with nothing. And so we have to become the breadwinner. We have to go do contract work for the people in the country, whether on their farms, whatever life cuts you, you have to do what you can do to feed your parents. And we will not look at our parents to struggle and get more depressed. So we have to do what we have to do.
So wherever you landed for safety, you just had to work in that setting.
Yeah.
I remember my mom telling me a story because she did the WOW on Wednesdays and your kids were there and she got to know you. And so we can cut this out if you don't want me
No,
to
you're fine.
tell
Go
this,
ahead. You're
but
fine.
she remembers my dad just making conversation maybe with your son and saying, do you like to canoe? You know, we go on these canoe trips with the church, and your son saying, oh, I've been in a canoe. And then recounting the story of fleeing somewhere and losing his favorite Winnie the Pooh slippers. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And so, you know, your children also in moving to different countries on the journey to get to America had to really endure a lot.
During this process, the kids feels it most. Imagine what happened right now, the natural disaster that just occurred in Texas, where the kids thought they went on a church trip, and all of a sudden, the flood, the rain, came and took their lives. War is something similar. You will be on a church journey, you will be at school, and all of a sudden, you start to hear that boom, boom on the other side of town, and you are caught up in between. You can't go back home. Everybody telling you, you got to go that way. Go, 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 go. And you got to go. And that's how war separates children. You could remember your favorite toy, your book, your clothes that you want to always put on your body. You cannot go back to touch it. You're either going with what you have on your body, and you're going to be starting all over. So during this war, many people lost their kids. Family got so much separated. Other people met new family, and some people refused to go back to their regular family. Other people started new family, and that's the reality of wars. Other people spent over 5-10 years before they would get reunited, and before they got reunited, things went wrong, and you either forgave or you move on.
A child who is young, kind of lost in that, caught up in that, almost like you're taken down a river in a flood and you dropped off on the banks and you've lost all the people that looked out for you.
Yeah.
And you just have to go into the world alone and hope that there is care and love and that you're not abused or mistreated or taken advantage of.
Well,
it's such a vulnerable.
During war, there's so much atrocity that goes on, so much abuses that go on. You have no choice. Again, women and children become most vulnerable. The so-called declared elites or commanders or control people will tell you, oh, take that beautiful woman, put her on that end for me. Take that young girl and put her over on the other side for me. And those things happen. Yeah. If you refuse to listen to their command, they just kill you. And some women will be pregnant, they don't like them, they just take a knife and say, it's a boy, it's a girl. He said, no, it's a boy. Well, let's make sure. And somebody live here, you just put a knife in their stomach.
Wow. Because
they want to kill you.
Yeah.
It's either one tribe that they don't like and they have arrested the people, so they want to make sure they find a way to kill you, and they think it's fun. These things happen.
And so then those children and you and people who have seen this come and resettle in a new community and try to feel safe and
feel safe. Let's go back one more step. If we tell you that people who come to the U.S. as immigrant and refugee don't only come because they came to seek green pasture, they came or they fled their home country because of this atrocity because of the nightmare they found forced them out of their comfort zone. They have no way of saying, I don't want to, I must stay and die. They must go. They either burn you down in your own house or you must be forced to move. And when you be forced to move to another to cross international border, and that's where the term refugee comes. So like refugee definition is different from the migrant or immigrant. Immigrant, you or me right now as U.S. citizen made a choice that I am moving to Liberia. I want to live in Liberia for the next 5 years and study the people, their way of life. And you move there. You are an immigrant in Liberia. If I choose to move to Ghana, to Nigeria, or to Cote d'Ivoire, I made a choice. But refugee, you have no choice. You are forced migration to cross international border. And so when you are forced and you left behind all that you worked for 40 years, for 30 years, it's depressing, traumatizing.
I imagine I would do anything to keep my children safe.
And that's where a lot of refugees in this place, if you check, you will see that between 10, 15, 20, 25% has some form of mental illness because they watch things happen in their eyes, right before their eyes, yep.
I'm surprised it's not higher. I mean, the definition of trauma is feeling that you are going to die or that someone that you care for is going to die or you witness bodily harm or severe threats to the body, to the physical, happen before you. So I'm shocked that that number isn't a lot higher.
When they get here or when we get here from Liberia to a first country of refuge, which could be Sierra Leone or Cote d'Ivoire or Ghana or Nigeria or Guinea, those countries that are in the sub-region with Liberia, you feel little safe until the people in that country feel that you are not welcome to their country. That, hey, you are overusing our resources. We already have 22 million people living in our country with less land, and your survival depends on also our resources with little help from the international community, so you have to go to another country. That's where the UN definition of resettlement comes in, where either any other country bigger than Africa, where we're from, can agree to take X amount of refugee for resettlement, or the United States or other European nations or Australia or Asian nations say, hey, we will take X amount of people to move to our country because maybe we have vast amount of land that need to be developed, or we have so many open houses and apartments that we think they can use, and we can create more jobs in this area where they can work. And that's how these people come to work, setting jobs that were already created, and they don't have workers to do this work. And there's so many houses and apartments were built, and those buildings are empty. Like look at Neverland, Michael Jackson's area. That whole area becoming a ghost land.
What is it? I don't know.
Neverland.
Neverland?
Yeah.
Oh, where Michael Jackson.
Yeah. So like those kind of places, they will be like, okay, we need to take maybe 7,000 Haitian or 20,000 Hispanic group and bring about 15,000 African, and then Madonna and other places and jobs will open in those areas. So whenever they see where population have declined, and so they start to see whether they can place people there to regrow those population. And that's how refugees come to most of these countries that you find. Yeah.
And so that issue of people not having a home, I can imagine if I were to be forced from my home tomorrow for a natural disaster, for war, for disease or illness or whatever, that you lose your identity in some ways because you are known in your community, you have a job that gives you purpose, you have relationships that help you, and all of a sudden you're separated from a lot of the things that make up your identity, and then you're pushed around or moved around, maybe a moment of safety, and then to be met with a feeling of, well, now we don't want you here. We did want you here because this place had a need for you, but now it doesn't, and it's a little more competitive, and so now you're actually a problem and you need to go somewhere else. And so there must be a feeling in one's body of like, can I relax? Can I get comfortable? Am I safe here? Can I build a life here? And so the United States, with our Statue of Liberty, and I think, what's the saying, like, bring me you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor or weak, or we have a program where we'll resettle refugees. How is it feeling in today's climate? Do refugees and immigrants feel that they can, I feel like I know the answer, but can they relax and say, I'm safe, my children are safe? How is it for folks that you work with to be in the world in the United States today?
So I would say before there were much realization. So let's take, for instance, I was once in a situation that some of these people who are being chased around, detained, awaiting deportation are in today when I fled to another country in Africa. And
so what you're saying is that when you're watching people be detained and chased around, and what you see happening in the United States reminds you of when you were in Liberia?
Yes. Mentally, it affects us. Though I am a U.S. citizen, I do what I do right. I try to build other people's capacities and confidence of the naturalization, but it still emotionally affects me and other people, I believe, because if you feel that...
you were a citizen of Liberia. I mean, that was your home.
Yeah.
You were legally there. You were, that was the place that was supposed to be safe and be okay for you to be in. So you must feel that citizenship is also on some level an idea. And how much do Americans believe in the idea of citizenship?
They might not see and feel the way you see it and feel. So when we become naturalized citizens, we give away our rights of citizenship from our country of birth and naturalize. But they know, the immigration laws also know that deep inside your hair, you were born and raised in a specific country. I will fight and defend the sovereignty of the United States, as well as if anything goes wrong in Liberia, I have to help to stabilize the situation. So those are things we don't say, but we have to agree to the naturalization policy because that's why it is. And so some country will go above requesting dual citizenship. So like if you go to Africa, African thinks Liberia is America little child, or Liberia is America cousin, because everything we do in Liberia is almost a direct copycat of America. They took the whole system, like our Pledge of Allegiance. You remove the United States of America and you put in the Republic of Liberia.
So it's, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Republic of Liberia.
Yep. Everything the same. And then our flag, red, white, and blue with one star, and the 11 ladies who designed the flag, we have the 13 straps representing the 13 original states that were first established before the rest of them. So they all have some kind of a similar story. Our military code, the only thing is that we're not making our own warplanes and ships and gunboats and all that. We have to come and say, hey, we like this gunboat. Can we have one of those, or can we buy one? And so if we need it, we have to come and ask to do it. Because if you build your own warplane right now, they'll tell you why you're building warplanes. You are not at war, but other countries can do it, but you cannot do it. You have to follow order. Those others are still there. Basically, let's go back again. Let's double back down. And so, speaking of the immigration process are ongoing, if you are a U.S. citizen as you were born and raised in America, got married to an immigrant who were either illegal or has some sort of status, and you have a child, and they told you that your so-called baby dad is illegal, he has to be deported, and this child that you have today is not going to be a U.S. citizen, though they were born on this land, but he has to go with his father. Deeply, psychologically, it affects you as a mother, as a citizen who is trying to do everything right. And this is exactly how it affects we who spend more than 20 years here, are U.S. citizens. We're doing everything we can, rebuilding the society, upgrading our statuses, chasing up the American dreams to build those same dreams we saw before. And they tell you we are deporting this X amount of people because they came here with this starter, or we permitted them to come with this starter, but we no longer need them, so they need to go back.
When you say starter, are you talking about like they came with a certain status?
Yes, status, yes. So like people
a work
from
visa,
Ukraine,
a study visa.
No, yeah, those are legal. I think those people are untouchable. Look at Ukraine.
But even at Augustana, they didn't let kids come back to college because their visas were
student
visas, and
so there you go. So that's one of that. Number two, look at the situation in Ukraine. A war in Ukraine was created by somebody, not just a Russian. And now people continue to die for somebody else's selfish gain. And the war continues to go on. If we check how much dollar have been spent on that war, and how many lives have been taken, and how many lands and destruction, and how much other people are suffering in that southern region of Ukraine, Russia, it's over trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars.
Yeah,
other people like that because
seems like people in power playing games over power.
Yep.
Who's in charge? Who gets to have power? And all the collateral damage of
it falls back on the poor. Because the rich will leave.
Yeah.
The rich have their flight. They have their helicopter. They have their money. They took their wife and kids out of Ukraine already. The poor people are staying to defend the country. Let's go to Afghanistan.
And it's hard to leave. You know, when we think about ways that the world might change, rising sea levels, you know, even aside from war, just for the environment, lack of clean water.
Yep.
Borders are there, and every country has the right to keep its borders and to defend its borders. And who knows over time how borders will shift? Because if you have people who can't survive in a certain area, a border is not a thing. It's like I would cross any border to keep my children safe.
Yep.
I would sneak. I would fight. I would, no human is going to sit in a space where their children's lives are threatened, or even their own life, and say, well, I guess I'll just sit here until someone comes to fix this problem.
So again, speaking of this, brings us to another one. These people who we saw walking from Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, from country to country, are fleeing because something of such is going on in their country. And when they get to one country and they don't feel welcome, we don't have space for you, you got to keep going. And so, for we Americans today, we cannot walk through Illinois to Indiana. That's impossible for us These people are walking through Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa to get to Minnesota because they feel welcome in Minnesota, or North Dakota before they can stop walking. And they're not coming alone. They're coming with their kids. They're coming with their wives. Their wives have been raped along the way. Their children have been taken from them along the way until they get here.
Yeah.
And this is what exactly happening. Other people
And the
came.
thing that always strikes me is that, and now we're trying to get people out of our country, and we can do so much so quickly to that end. So if we look at the budget that just passed, we've put tons of money into immigration reform. We've put, I think if you're an ICE agent, starting salary $100,000 and you get a $45,000 signing bonus. So we put resources toward hiring, toward training.
Probably I need to go work for ICE.
Yes, that would be in your financial best interest. And we can build structures. The alligator Alcatraz was a $450 million, or I think they're saying actually $600 million a year to run that facility. So all this, there is the money, there is the organization, there is the power to put resources into something. And I just wonder, if we fixed our immigration system so that there were more attorneys, more processes for people to come legally, and then, you have all that, it's we'll pay more money to keep someone in detention than we would to help them live a safe and healthy life.
So first of all, even though I joke about maybe I need to work for ICE, I refuse to work for law enforcement. I prefer to work for the United Nations, for QCAIR, for a church to build peace, teach peace, preach peace, and bring peace to every home and every nations around the world. That is my mission. I don't care about the money. I care about people being at peace and uniting people together. And that's what we need to do. America was built on immigrant or immigrations. Every human who lives on this planet today in this country has one relative who came from either Europe, Asia, Africa, or the rest of the world. Even our first lady, our second lady, families are all immigrants. They are all immigrant. Yeah. And when we, the Bible or some kind of a Liberian proverbs will say, if you pointing your finger at the other, at one person, your index finger is being pointed back to you. Mm-hmm. And so the president needs to think about his own family situation, from his first wife, his second wife, his current wife, the vice president. What if it was his wife, uncle, the wife, his family-in-law? What would he do?
Yeah.
I know President Obama deported his own aunt.
President Obama deported his own aunt?
Yep, who came here on a visiting visa and thought she could stay all those years. So he had to show example on his aunt that you can try to do it legally. But again, those people who fled as migrant,
yeah,
you don't know what happened to them. They had no choice. We have, what's his name?
Well, and it's just the trauma-informed policing. There's this idea of trauma-informed policing, which means that it's hard because both officers have probably been traumatized and the public that they are there to serve or protect. But it's the recognition that the people that you're interacting with may have their own trauma, and that is going to throw their body into a fight or flight status, state, whether they're consciously thinking about it or not. So if you're thinking of an immigrant or a refugee who was fleeing something where women were grabbed, they were thrown, They were,
Rape.
they were raped.
They were killed. I mean,
But then you even have you could have a man of the same stature walking toward you and your body would react. And so to then have these policing practices that are almost recreating, you have someone who's covered their face, you can't see them, they're grabbing you, they don't have identification. And someone might watch that and say, well, why doesn't this woman just go limp or allow them? Why are they fighting? Why are they resisting? As though we have full conscious choice over what our bodies do to keep us safe.
Yeah.
When you've witnessed rape, when you've experienced it, when you've seen your children torn away from you, or it's terrifying.
It is terrifying, yeah.
We need an immigration system. We have to. You also can't just let everybody in. But these are human beings.
Look at another awkward immigration system. If I was here illegally, and my sons or daughter is 18 years and a little older, and both either Davenport, Rock Island, or the military need police officers. Mm-hmm. And those kids were in school and doing stuff, they graduated, they can enlist as illegal or legal, not being citizen, and they can join the military, they can join the police, and they can become citizen in less than a year. So you can take kids of illegal immigrant, enlist them in the U.S. Marine, in the police, in the army, and it's okay. But you can still arrest their parents and deport them.
Yeah.
What thought are you putting in the head of these kids?
Yeah. And is that the same if they are in college?
Yeah.
Or is it just for the military that they get this fast-tracked legal status? Or if they went to school?
Only the military or the police that the fast track goes. If I don't know, it was a week ago when a father of 2 U.S. Marines currently serving was arrested because he was illegal. Came from work on the farm and he got arrested in the street with a bunch of ICE staff. Mm-hmm. What if one of you, even when I watched on TV the other day, this boy from West Liberty called...
Was he a soccer player?
Yeah. He's not Pablo or Paco. I think something from West Liberty who got deported. And we have the Hispanic police officers, young, were part of the group. Even though you're wearing the iron suit, but again, this was your brother. You got to speak out how we can fix the system that is broken.
Well, and it wasn't originally supposed to be going after peaceful, working people who contribute to the economy.
Who never committed any crime. Who did everything they could do. Unlike people we got in the higher office right now.
Can you say more about that? What do you mean?
The first lady. Parents are here illegally. She got a son here. It's on the national news. Mm-hmm. They're talking about it now. Like, are you going to deport your wife? She came to visit. She overstayed her visit. She now become your wife. I bet if you do a fast track check, she may not have even gone through her U.S. citizenship yet. But she now first lady in the country. Her parents are also here, overstayed their visa.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about it? Send it to your alligator, whatever.
Alcatraz?
Yeah. When you go to, if you think, we can do it to these people and it's okay. I know myself saw that the way people just walked through the border was wrong. And we needed to check because this country need more security and protection. So we can track these people to see who is who we can, what we can do to fix the situation. And we will build a border, finally build a border and let people come illegally, but to just send those people to detention camps. Like today, if I have good money and have evil mind, I can build my own prison in the middle of the Mississippi River and imprison people because I have the money and get more government money.
Yeah.
Other people are building prison just to put in immigrant and refugee. Do you know what these people went through before? What made them to come here? The people thought they were milk and honey. Number one, that maybe they were chasing. There's none. Two, somebody, because of some sort of warlord or some kind of a dictator from their country is forcing them to run. Some of these people, parents work for other government, and when government change, they say we're going to put all of you in prison, and they can't get on a plane, either a car, so they have to walk. And you're going to put them in in cages where be more depressed.
And terrified.
Terrified.
And scared, are they going to see the next day? Where are they going to go?
Well,
their families don't know where they are.
They may release all of them and say you can go wherever you want to go, and just go so the alligator can eat you.
It's a complicated issue in the sense that we have to have a good immigration system. The United States needs to be more organized, but I just really struggle with the lack of empathy that people have for people who are in alligator Alcatraz. You know, on the internet you'll see, oh, I hope the alligators eat good tonight, kind of celebrating that these human lives are dispensable. There can be problems, and we can need to fix things about our immigration system. But it just, exactly what you're talking about in Liberia, where people started to see one another as the enemy, where you start to see people as less than human. And once you start to see someone as not being human, you can kill them.
Yep.
You can hurt them. You know, and I just never want to be seen as not human. But it's almost like our country is saying, like, well, this group of people we don't have to care about. And this group of people over here, we want them here. I don't know. It's just, I don't know enough about immigration to be like, here's the right system to set up. But I do know that I shouldn't be feeling comfortable with innocent people who have not hurt anyone being put in a facility that we're going to spend $600 million a year running, when there are women and children in Century Woods and Rock Island who are going to have $200 a month from their SNAP benefits taken away from them.
Look at that again. Americans are crying today that Medicare have been taken away, and it's true. People have been denied of getting food to eat because of their statuses, or maybe your grandma, husband, or her retirement is coming so she can use that to pay for Medicare, or she have one or two houses, so those are enough for her. But other people can't get it because they know how to manipulate the system, and they do what they do, and other people suffer. This is exactly what we're talking about. We could be fixing,
but like fighting over scraps, this tiny amount.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's $112 or $230 a month
over 60 million.
Food. And we're gonna spend 600 million housing
600 million. Yep.
500 people every year.
Yeah.
And it's or we're gonna put a person in prison, and we're gonna, every roll of toilet paper that we buy for that prison is gonna cost the taxpayer 7 times what a roll of toilet paper that I buy costs.
Exactly.
But we're okay spending that money. I don't know. So
immigration issues, immigration system is very deep and deeper. People are really taking it very personal, and that's why it's taking a route that it's taking. I hope they all think about where their ancestor came from, how they got to where they are, that we are all American, one way or the other, from one country to another, and we can fix the system instead of making Americans or Americans enemy. Today, as an American, if I leave this country and get outside international border, I have to keep my passport away from me as an American to be more safer. Thank God Almighty that I do speak other languages that I can use when I'm across the international border, because with this system, we are jeopardizing we are jeopardizing our national security system, and for people who will not have private security when they travel. Because when you're on your own out there as an American, You want to be very much protective and don't really tell people that you are an American, because that is going to put you at risk. I can tell you that.
So in Rock Island specifically, how many immigrant and refugee families, or in the Quad Cities or in Rock Island, how many immigrants and refugees live in our area?
I would say up to this point, we are over 5 to 7% of the entire population. So we could be around 25, between 21 to 25, 30,000 immigrant and refugee.
Okay, in the Quad Cities.
In the Quad City.
21 to 25,000.
Yeah.
And what about Rock Island specifically? Do you know?
I would say maybe 8 to 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
8 to 10,000.
Yeah, because a lot of them, you will see that a lot of them spread out in Rock Island specifically.
And I've heard or read that the majority of immigrants and refugees in the Quad Cities live in Rock Island.
Yeah.
That more people are resettled to Rock Island than the other cities.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why?
There are a lot of public housing, there are a lot of abandoned places, and most of these refugees agree to buy and fix those places, or the government take out the Rock Island economic growth or development system. They agree to give some amount of dollar to those people that, hey, if you live in this house, if you take this house, we can recondition the house for you and you can go ahead and buy or live there. And so people are accepting living refugee camps, living under the tent or school building, and coming to a house that is becoming deplorable, that it can be refixed and live in. They feel much better to live in those places. So they are kind of like fixing up a lot of old houses, and the population in Rock Island is growing again through a lot of the immigrant and refugees.
So we might say, oh, that house is not desirable and nobody wants to live there. And then you have an immigrant or refugee family that you said has been living in a bus or under a tent or in an open area, comes and sees that house and says,
we'll take it.
I'll take it, and I'll put my blood, sweat, and tears into it.
And so the government will give you whether 20, 25, 30, 40,000, put a new roof, new kitchen, scrape the house, pin it up, put a new washer, dryer, electricity, and everything else that the house becomes new again.
And do you own the house then at that point?
A lot of them own their own houses now. I was supposed to buy one of the houses that were like that, but I'm not going to do this. I need to find somewhere different. So it took me a year and a half to find my house behind Hy-Vee on 18, but I live on 28th Street. It's right by the Hy-Vee gas station. I'm a little further down.
Oh,
so
we're kind of neighbors.
Yeah, so I will have to do that because I couldn't just live in those areas where they were selling those houses. So a lot of people who felt their family, their friends live all there, they all go to buy their houses and stay around there. That's why they do, yeah.
How is it for the immigrant refugee population integrating into Rock Island, being part of community? Are there difficulties there?
I would say right now, a lot of people are very happy moving here because when they come, there's a lot of help. We have so many different organizations. On World Relief, that is one of the primary group that comes that brings a lot of new refugee or true homeless refugee will come for resettlement here. And so then we have a QCAIR who was established by people like you and me, people who live here additionally, and said there are a lot of immigrant refugee moving to this area who needs help. So there's a need of being able to establish another organization that is not World Relief that will help World Relief after they done what they do, that will help these people well integrate into society. And that's how QCAIR came. We had Carpentry Farm, that we have Aquaba that was also established about 2 years ago. So all these different immigrant and refugee organizations are kind of collaborating in helping all of these different immigrant and refugee in the area with resources that are needed. I forgot about...
Are there any cities in the Quad Cities that are kind of we don't want immigrants or refugees living here?
No.
Or is everybody pretty open?
The Quad City is one of the most welcoming community for immigrant and refugee, I can tell you. Almost everybody here are welcoming immigrant and refugees. I can give it up for the Quad City. Yeah.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Your kids growing up, going to the Rock Island schools, did they have a good experience?
They don't really remember what really happened at home because they were not really born in Liberia, but like Isaac Jr. was born in the Ivory Coast with my older daughter, Carvino. But Denise Afi, who were born here, we only passed on information to them or showed them pictures when we were kids in Liberia, when we were growing up in Ivory Coast, when I met their mom and how we kind of transitioned, and when the war broke out, what it was like, why she chose not to stay with her parents but stay with us. And so all those kind of stories we keep telling them, and how we start to develop their mind to have that basics educational standard of life that will make you overly independent to achieve that American dream. And even the businesses that we create, we tell them why we created these businesses and why we think if they don't want to do business, but what worked best for them in life that will stand up, that they don't have to either be subordinate but to also grow with superiority. That is the educational level, the kind of job that you can achieve that will give you that standard of life. And so here's the business part, here's our educational level, and we tell them we want you to go above and beyond us. So if I was a master's degree holder now, I would want to see my sons and daughter have masters or 2 masters over me. Mm-hmm. If they want to have a doctorate degree or become a lawyer or medical doctor, that's fine. That would be a bigger edge over me instead of being equal to me. I feel like though they are successful in society, but as long as you didn't go above me, you're still hanging there. So when you go over me, I would respect the fact that you did greater than me, because that's where you want to see your kids go, not beneath you. You want them either equal to you or above you.
How do they respond to that pressure? That's like
they are trying their best.
What I hear you saying is that you want your children to have a better quality of life, and that you really want them to be free, which means getting to a place where you're not having to interact with some system that gets to tell you what to do and how to eat and where to go and what your health insurance is going to be and what food you can put in your belly. And so you want them to have that freedom, which
exactly
is not being kind of dependent on any system.
So like today, if I was an immigration lawyer or a medical doctor, I'm not going to care about, oh, you know what, we're going to be raising property tax, we're going to be raising taxes and doing blah, blah, blah. Because I make $1,000 a day. Or maybe I'm bringing home $8,000-$9,000 a month. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. So like you said, that's where I know money is not all to the world, but again, the ethics, the ethical value that this is Rock Island, I want to build it. Like when I was member of the steering committee on the West End revitalization, I would tell the committee that, hey guys, what if we put in a project to build something around the Mississippi River front on the Illinois side? That will be a point of attraction, not our downtown here, a point of attraction for tourists from all over the United States. Something that will cost us more than $1 billion, if possible, $1 trillion. Like, I know they may not hear me because I'm an immigrant or refugee, but I want Rock Island to shine, to grow, and to be the point of attraction. Look at the spot on 11th Street and 9th Street.
You are a model of, coming here with nothing.
Yep.
You own your own home. You contribute to the economy.
Yep.
You're working full time. You've put 4 kids through the Rock Island school system who are off doing great things in the world. So, part of economic development in communities that don't have a lot of money to rub together is kind of that self-made ethic.
I have a very great community impact on society on what I do and how I do it. And I'm trying. I don't want to be everywhere, but people are like, wow, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. I'm like, okay, I know I may be everywhere. That's my obligation. I feel I have to do what I have to do, and that's why I do it. And yep, that's what we do. But again, I want to see Rock Island. I know it's in the Quad City, but I want to see Rock Island boom, guests on top. Like, you know how we have TBK Sports Complex in the back there?
Yeah.
Rock Island needs something of attraction. We have Sand Club and Costco in Davenport. We need something that will keep the traffic in this area. And the more population growth and traffic you have, the more economy you build.
On this wall over here, eventually I'm going to make a list of everybody's ideas. Like, someone sent me a form online that said they think we should be a go-karting center because we do the Grand Prix and you have to travel pretty far to go to nice go-karting. I know nothing about go-karting. It wasn't an idea that would have come to me.
Yeah.
Do you have any populations traveling to Rock Island for certain experiences or for certain food or culture or what kind of...
The Rock River. We go to Chicago to just get on those boats and go through downtown. Okay? We had the Rock River. We can build a connection between the Rock River going to back towards Rock Ford, those area, build something on the Rock River and along the riverside that will attract tourists. Do anything that will build, like when you go to some part of Texas around Austin where people get on the boats and go around the city, they tell the story of the city. I know we have the trail by Black Hawk Park back there, but we need something more.
So kind of a historical tour, boating thing where you can tell the history of like the indigenous people in Black Hawk and the wars that happened and the Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln was part of the lawsuit about the railroad bridge that went over.
Look at Black Hawk fell last time for that storm, and we haven't built it back. It's sad. We need to. And if we want to build it back, we need to build it somewhere where it is more visible. We want to bring it downtown. Do we want to bring it by the Welcome Center, by the courthouse, somewhere that the symbol of Rock Island can be seen, somewhere where it can be erected, that it will reincarnate the people of Rock Island spirit. We need something greater than what we are doing.
Yeah, I love that, and I love those ideas. And I am also wondering, selfishly, like one thing I'm always, and especially my husband, food. Is there food stuff happening in the immigrant and refugee community, and what would make that easier? Because I know there's this is very selfish on my part, but I know there's really good food there, and how do I get to it and eat it and pay someone to give it to me?
So I would tell you that I know of all food, not out of Africa, of all food in West Africa, Liberia make the best food.
So why don't we have a Liberian restaurant in
Our
Rock Island?
population have gone from over 900 to 1,000 people to maybe 300 or less.
In the Quad Cities?
In the Quad City. A lot of people moved to Des Moines 5, 6, 7 years ago, 8, 10 years ago, to Des Moines, to Minneapolis area, to Chicago, to Louisville, Kentucky, to Indianapolis, to Pennsylvania. They moved away to those places because they saw those cities were bigger. After spending a few years, they're like, oh, I like the houses in Texas. I like the population in Texas. And they all moved there. Mm-hmm. But we decided to stay here and make it our home, regardless of what it looks like, that we can develop it, and we want people to come to it and see how much it has changed.
And how much you can do with $1 in Rock Island. That you can live affordably here. So how does the city, how do other entrepreneurs help the immigrant or refugee population do businessy stuff? I mean,
so the city has money. They have their development team that wants to give money to local businesses to boom them. But again, some of those money are either loan or some of them are grants. Mm-hmm. So you have to really, as an entrepreneur, I just don't like to take people money because I want to do something. I want to do something that when I do, it stays and get bigger and better.
Yeah.
So, like my own trucking, my own events and decorating, it took us more than 3 years to get our marketing. And
What's
even
your company called? Your decorating?
Nix Logistics.
Nix Logistics?
NIC, my own name.
Oh.
Logistics, so I do all the driving. And the event deco is done by my wife and her girls. So we all do it together, but they mainly own the decorating part, I own the logistic part.
Oh.
So we name it Nix Logistics and Event Deco. So yeah, so like to get us out there, like buying those royal chairs. Our chairs are not like this. We have real royal chairs that when you sit in, you feel like a queen or a king.
Ooh.
Like the ones you see the
these
president.
Are all budget, like from like vintage, like garage sale.
No,
furniture.
no. I'm saying that if you're getting married, if your parents or you having your anniversary, we have those chairs. Even kids having a birthday party, 2 year, 5 year, we have chairs that when they sit in and you take a picture for the rest of their life, they will love that chair they sat in.
Yeah.
And so we, like the chairs the presidents use in the White House or the vice president, those are the kind of chairs we have.
Oh, cool.
For weddings and events that we use. And we have smaller ones that look like gold chairs that people also use for other events. Like you want to do a backyard thing, you want to do something in the park. So we have all these kind of a different designs that we do with people and all that. So yeah, so like it took us years to get to that level and keep growing the company. So now we are like on the verge of getting the website so that besides just doing TikTok, doing Facebook, is to get a website so that people can like go on the website. Then when you have grown to that level, we say, okay, now we need a building, a location that we can have the display and people are, because if you first of all take $8,000 from the government for business development, and you are not able to get yourself marketed appropriately or adequately out there, and your business is not breaking, I mean, the income generation is very low as compared to your rate and all that, you be paying $700-800 for a place or $1,000 for a place that you're making no money,
Right.
that you be operating on loss. So that's all of that strategy making us not to come to the city or the county asking for money to do XYZ. We want to figure out what will work better, best, that when we hear that, if we pay $1,000 and making at least $3,000-4,000 a month in there, we'd be like, that's fine. At least that extra three on our salaries. Yeah,
kind of that tipping point.
Yes.
My businesses I did through the SBA, Small Business Administration, and yeah, I mean, when you take those loans, you're signing off your house. You know, you're putting your personal assets, because if you can't pay back that loan, the government will come after you to. So you want to make sure you're at that point where you know this is going to be successful enough where I'm not putting my house at risk, or you hope it will be. I mean, any entrepreneur, you are always taking a risk, and
that's why we are.
Yeah. Well, Isaac, it's like so lovely to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything else you think we should know about your role at QCAIR, about the immigration refugee population in Rock Island, about how people who aren't connected to the immigrant and refugee population can meet more people or learn more about the different people that live in Rock Island, and even, have friendship or have community?
So I will first, before I talk about QCAIR, I want to go back to the refugee immigrant situation, then I will go directly to QCAIR. So again, to our listening public, I want to say thank you so much for welcoming immigrant and refugee to the Quad Cities. We first want to say that our culture is very diverse. And some of the reason why you see some immigrants are the way they are is because their culture is very different. It is not as you see in America. So they are either learning to catch up with what society does, or some of them, unlike us, have surpassed that level and only have to integrate. And so people, your neighbors, these immigrant and refugee are your neighbors. Please help them to integrate. Do not worsen their situation by kicking them out there in society, taking away their jobs, reporting them to ICE because they live in your house, they're not paying your rent, or feel like they're hiding. These people are not hiding, they are just scared for their life because a lot of them who are legal just feel that when one is affected, it's going to go across to the rest. So that's all of the traumas are hitting people. So please, we need to be who we are in the Quad City. I know a lot of you have welcomed immigrant and refugee in the Quad City. That's a very good thing. Let us do what we do best, and we should not divert or deviate from this. For QCAIR, our mission is to help immigrant and refugee integrate. I am the Citizenship Director at QCAIR. My role is to help these immigrant and refugee on their outreach education, what they can do to become U.S. citizen, what they cannot do, all the do's and don'ts that will put you in trouble with immigration issues, and how we can walk you through the step and helping you with the processing and how you become U.S. citizen. And that's not all we do at QCAIR. We also have our social services program where we do help those who needed help with Medicaid, needed help with the SNAP program, help those who are supposed to go to school and do this and do the registration process. We help with that. We have a program with the positive interaction with the police, and we kind of work out these programs and help people do all of that. So we just want to caution you that when you need help, go to qca.org and we will be able to help you. Thank you so much.
And what events do you have coming up so I can make sure
We
that
have
we
the QC
spotlight
World
those?
Cup soccer tournament is coming up. It should be August 2nd. And we also have the Harmony Fest will be in East Moline. That will be August 17th on East Moline Main Street. We also have the King Center Soul of the City that we partner with them to also do that. And so that will be all coming on August 30th for the one at the King Center. So the QC World Cup will be August 2nd, will be held in Davenport. And the Harmony Fest will be on the 17th in East Moline downtown. And then the Soul of the City will be the 31st.
Awesome. And I feel like you have a cold.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
do.
not feeling
I
good?
do, yes.
I feel bad. I can tell that
You're fine. Yeah,
you're
I
not
know.
feeling your best. Yeah. Well, Isaac, I so appreciate you. I think it's such a good time to have you on, just everything that's going on in the world. And I'm so glad that you're here and that you're a citizen like me and that we can make Rock Island better together. And I hope we cross paths again in the future.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you. You
All
too. Big thanks to Isaac Carr for joining me today and for the important work he's doing at the Quad City Alliance for Immigrants and Refugees. Be sure to check out upcoming QCAIR events. They're building a stronger, more inclusive community right here in the Quad Cities, and they'd love to have you involved. And if you think Rock Island gets a bad rap, don't even get me started on Century Woods. It's a neighborhood that's too often overlooked, but it's also home to good, loving people who deserve far better living conditions than they've been given. That's why Rock Island Line is teaming up with residents to share their stories and push for real, lasting change. You can follow that journey along with everything else we're doing on Instagram and Facebook at Rock Island Line. We believe in the power of storytelling, community, and action, and we're just getting started. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Rock Island Line.